Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker. Today we're going to be talking about distances on bikes and why it's different in Ireland and America, and Europe and America even. And why that's all fine, that, you know, everyone has their different things, and there's too many people around when I started this. Okay, we're okay. We're starting here at the Black Abbey. Sorry, not the Black Quarry, different place entirely. And as you can see, this was founded by William Earl Marshall the Younger in 1225. We're just going to have a quick look because it's really cool. There's one good thing about Kilkenny is how old everything is. So like, this was obviously all refurbished a while back, but I think it's such a cool building, and I love kind of coming past it. And there's also this really huge window, which is stained glass, right there, which is by the road, which is again just cool. There's also an arch just down there, which is really, really old and part of Kilkenny's original walls. Kilkenny is a great place to come if you like a bit of history, and that's why I kind of like talking about it sometimes, because it's I'm not a historian or anything, and I'm not well learned in history, to be honest, but this is one place that's really cool. I think there's mass going on, so I'm not going to hang around too long. I don't want to be bothering them. I'm not I've said this before, I'm not a particularly religious person, but I do really like the old architecture. Anyway, let's get going. So we'll also just go up by the cathedral there. There's a couple, is there something in my ear? I had a wasp in my helmet earlier, and I swear to God I'm paranoid. I'm just going to check. No, anyway, we're finally moving, doing our speaky thing. So this is the other one. Again, massively impressive old building, and I'll take a quick spin down to the front of it, and then we'll finally head off on the road. It's hard to come past here and not look at it. And the thing is, right, the crazy thing to me is that was built by people with their hands, which is a bit mad. I've right away now. You can hold on. So again, it's just a massively, what is it? Mary. This is Mary's Cathedral. It's a massively impressive building. Now I'll have to turn here, but that's you get the gist of it. Hopefully, that's kind of the size of the building. Sorry, to get the first couple of minutes out of the way, I happened to start the video there in Kilkenny, and I wanted to just show you these. And here's another really old church just up here, which is also very, very cool. No, this video today is about, you know, because I recently put up the video about my tour in Scotland, which I found very interesting. Some of the responses, you know, I got people messaging like, oh, you covered so little ground, etc., right? And I suppose in a way we did, and I suppose in a way that's a fair comment. Speaking of old massive castle-y buildings, I went to school in there in St. Kieran's College. I hated every single second of it, but the buildings were cool. There you go. There's no trees, there's leaves at this time of year, so you can kind of see it. It's a very impressive old building where they used to train monks to be priests and whatnot. If you don't know much about the history of Ireland, it was previously a very, very religious place. Not so much in modern society, say, but back then it was, and you know, people took you know, sending off family member, whatever, to join the priesthood very seriously. It was much more a done thing back then. So yeah, I got a couple of comments saying, you know, that's not much mileage, and there's two things that I'm gonna kind of comment on from that comment, which was not meant, by the way. It's not. This is in no way like and I'm upset with that comment type video. This is just me kind of explaining why these distances are very, very different. I understand, you know, that some people, their goal when they go out and ride their bike is to cover as much ground as possible, and, you know, do iron butts and ride all the time on roads like this, or, you know, to be honest, bigger roads like in America. It's a big thing to go on the, you know, the interstates for stuff like that, and I don't take anything away from people like that. You know, that's something that I hope to do myself one day. I hope one day I will get to do an iron butt for charity or something, And to be honest, I still kind of plan on doing one here. It's just with COVID and all, when I wanted to do it, it kind of fell away from me, and now at the moment I haven't any firm plans on how to do it. But it will be done, it will be executed. When I say I'll do these things, I always do everything I say I'll do. It's just not often done in the time frame I want it to be done, which is kind of, I suppose you could say about, you know, that as well. But anyway, right, the intent for the spin we did to Scotland was to ride on roads not similar to this, not like this, because this road is a bit shitty, surface isn't great and there's always dirt on it, but you get my point. Lower speed, twisty roads with some nice scenery. Again, this is not a patch on Scotland. not even close. A lot of people, they kind of get put off with some trips because they go and they look at a trip and they say, okay, no, I have to sit out X amount of miles, and that's what I want to do. And again, I'm not taking away from that style of trip. There's nothing wrong with that at all. To be honest, it's more like what you set out to do for yourself. But I'm not, basically, that type of trip, going doing like iron butt after iron butt in several days, that is a completely valid method of taking a motorcycle trip. The way we did it is a valid method of taking a motorcycle trip. If someone goes and does 100 miles a day, 50 miles a day, 20 miles a day, that is a valid motorcycle trip. The point is that I'm trying to make, and I usually make these points quite badly, but the point I'm trying to make is, make of it what you will. Like today on this bike, I have gone down to Freeman's, I have went into town to get my teeth cleaned by my sister. She's a dentist, thank you Eva. And now I'm just making this video by going out a road I really like. And I know you've seen this road loads of times, but this is my point, right? I go on this road because it's enjoyable. It's not a long trip, it's quite a short trip, but it's not the point. It's I go on this road to get in a few nice corners, a few nice straights, and at the end of it I end up in Kells in Kilkenny, which has absolutely some beautiful architecture from history, and that is why I take this particular trip. At this time of year it's a little bit slower because the road surface is a little bit worse, but you know, you get nice views here. You get lots of stuff like that, and it's just kind of, it's a nice place to ride my bike. I have no idea, the other type of riding is nice here. Someone who's more into public stunts would have to let me know. But I go up here, this is one spot I like, so you get this easy left into a tighter right, scoops up into a nice long left, and then you have to ease off the throttle in the winter anyway. Ease off the throttle, a little bit of brakes, and tuck into this corner, which is uphill and just cambered nicely onto another long left turn. It's just a lovely road, and that's kind of, you know, what I'm trying to get across is the trip we took. It takes a lot longer to go further on roads like this because, you know, you're slowing down for bends, you're speeding back up when you get a bit of a straight. There's a crest here, so I'm going to ease off the throttle to make sure there's no cars over there, and the cars could have pulled out of there, so you don't want to go too fast. There's another bend here, you can't go too fast through that, especially if you have luggage for a trip, which you probably will have. Another long left, and then again into a tightening right, but the road surface isn't so good, so I'm going to bleed off some more speed and into a left, and we're going to tip on, and now we've hit traffic. So at this point in a trip I would just cut this bit out, right? But this is my point. So on trips like this, right, you need to look for a safe passing area, and whether I would or would not pass here off camera is not the point. I'm not going to this time, just to show you. And now I'm stuck behind this person who's making very little progression, so this is the speed we're doing. And that again, on tighter, windier roads, this is something that you just kind of have to be comfortable with. You have to make your bed. Actually, do you know, we won't go to Kells, we'll take a ride and go to Burnchurch, because I really like Burnchurch as well. And again, you know, so I'm only averaging 50 miles an hour for the Americans in the audience, you know. So 50 miles an hour, if you want to do 200 miles, okay? And I guarantee you would not average 50 miles an hour on these roads. You probably average 40, 45. So in 4 hours you've done 200 miles. So in 8 hours you would have done 400 miles. And no, I think it was only one or 2 days we came anywhere close to that. I think I did it the first day and maybe one of the other days. But that's not really something that, I suppose, when you're on roads like this, you don't set out to do mileage. You set out to go from point A to point B. And the enjoyment of that point A to point B is the journey. It's the road. And whether that be 100 miles, 200 miles, it doesn't matter, because, you know, and actually sometimes it's better to have it shorter, because it allows you to stop more, and it allows you to appreciate the scenery that you're riding through a little bit more. And obviously, you know, you have to plan in your stops for coffee and everything like that. Whereas if you were able to travel on a road that allows you to average 80 miles an hour, well, all of a sudden that's a completely different story, because in 2 hours you've nearly done what you do in 4 hours on the other roads. And you need to put it into perspective like that, because then 4 hours becomes 8 hours, you know what I mean, or 8 hours becomes 4 hours. That is a massive amount of time when you consider 4 hours is an absolutely grand time to be up on a bike. 8 hours, you're kind of probably starting to put yourself under a little bit of pressure. You know, not a lot, but a little bit. Now we'll park up the bike here, or actually, will I leave it here or will I go over to the gate? I think I can go over to the gate. This is gone a bit muddy. Oh yeah, we're slipping and sliding. So there's Burnchurch. I want to go over to the church of Burnchurch, though. I don't think I've ever went in the gate with you all. Oh, this is so slippy. Sports tires on mucky ground like that do not make for a good system. But you know, this is part of my point as well. If we just pop in here, have a little stoppy poo. Ooh, slippy again. Oh yeah. You're gonna sink, are you? You're not. Just pop in here really quick. So this is the church at Burnchurch, which is probably where it gets its name from, since it's Burnchurch. But like this, you know, I've done no mileage, you know what I mean? I've been talking to you the whole time. I've done very little distance, but I've gotten to a nice place that I want to stop and look at. And that's something I really urge people to try plan into their trips. Now again, right, the holiday we went on Scotland, we didn't really do this. We stopped for food and stuff to enjoy that, because we didn't go, it wasn't a sightseeing holiday, it was a road seeing holiday, which was fantastic. And that's, thanks for letting me know my mobile phone's disconnected. But this is the church. There's loads of just birds living here. It's locked. Birds, football, and lots of plants. But this is I can't remember how old this is. There's a sign here somewhere, but you can see there's lots of very, very old graves and stuff. So the demon himself of Ra is in here, which is not the truth. it's just the church. And there's some more recent people here as well. It's still, as far as I know, it's still an active consecrated place. Because to bury people, they have to be buried in consecrated ground. So get out of there. My point is, by stopping at this wee little church very quickly, my name's Daniel O'Donnell. If you know who Daniel O'Donnell is, I apologise. That's beautiful, isn't it? The big old tree beside the castle, or the tower house. I love that. Now my tires are probably filthy, so just gotta be careful here. If you're looking to do a set distance, and that distance, you don't care where you end up, you're just looking to do like 800 miles, 900 miles. Personally, that's not the way I like to travel. I have a point that, you know, I start to get tired, my bum starts to get tired, and that does kind of sap the enjoyment of a trip away from me a bit. So for me, I would rather do kind of shorter days on really fun roads where you're working yourself, you're working your bike, and words are hard today. Where you're working yourself, you're working your bike, and it's allowing you to enjoy the experience of going through some twisties and you know, at the end of the day, sitting down, you're not too tired, and you get up the next day and you're not too sore. And that's the kind of trips that I like to go on, and that's exactly what that Scotland trip was. It was just pure enjoyment of the roads and of the scenery, which was absolutely great. I really, really did love every second of it. At what point are you riding just for the sake of riding and not for the sake of enjoying it? And the reason I ride my bike when I'm not going up and down to work is to enjoy it, and that's important to me. I don't want it to be like a job, you know what I mean? Now, like I said, am I ever going to do iron butts? Probably. Are they going to be on roads like this? Absolutely not. Because it would take you so long, and even if I do an iron butt in Ireland, it's going to have to factor in a lot of our motorways and stuff, which is not where I like to ride my bike. I've literally zero interest in going on a motorway unless I absolutely have to. Taking a break when you need to take a break, and it's for your own safety as well, because if you get too tired and you're tense on a bike, and that's another thing, if you're taking a trip, stay loose. Your arms should be loose, your legs should be loose. You should never be, you know, locked solid on the bike, because if something happens you can't react to it. Like, your bar should be able to move a bit in your hands like this, you know what I mean? If you hit a rock or something, they should be able to give a little wiggle. It shouldn't really affect the overall handling of your bike. You should be able to recover. Whereas if you're super tense and something like that happens, it's going to be a lot worse. You'll notice I never sit, you know, because if your arms are locked straight as well, they'll get tired a lot quicker. Have everything loose, have everything comfy, you know, be able to move around your bike and just you know, relax. I absolutely hate this bald tarmac at this time of year. I just don't like it. But roads like this, these are the type of roads that I personally like to go out on trips, because there's lots and lots of twists, there's lots and lots of decelerations, there's lots and lots of accelerations, and that's what I enjoy the most. You know, putting down mileage, I'm sure, is very rewarding for some people. It's not what I set out to do, and that's absolutely fine. And it's absolutely fine if someone else looks at my type of trip and says, oh my god, that looks horrible, I never want to do all those twists and turns, I'd be too tired. It's kind of like, do what you like, and don't worry. I've said it before, I've said it in the, you know, too tall for bikes video and all that stuff. Is, I know it's a difficult thing to do, it's easier said than done, and for a long time I did care. I don't anymore. Try not to care what other people think. If you go out and you do 500 miles over 5 days, that's your trip. There is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. As long as you enjoy it, as long as you did all the stuff that you wanted to do and you enjoyed the journey between points A, B, C, D, E and F, that's what matters. Wow, there's a lot of dirt on this road. You know what I mean? If you worry about what other people think, you're probably in for a disappointing time, because you're never going to please everyone. And that's a fact. You are never ever going to please everyone, no matter what you do. You can be Superman himself, and some people still think Superman is a bit of a dickhead because he smashes up buildings and whatnot. It's not something I personally worry about, and I obviously, again, it's not like, why should you care what I think? You shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. I'm nobody, I'm nothing. But my advice would be, if you're someone who worries a lot about what other people think, just try not to. Try worry about it less and less every single day. Try enjoy yourself more every single day, because at the end of the day, very few of us are going to be remembered when we're gone, so you may as well fill your life with as much enjoyment as possible. It's what I try to do. You know, I don't understand people who, I've said it before, I don't understand people who are purely driven by like their jobs, which is to work for someone else's company and stuff. I mean, if it was my own company that might let me retire at 40 and travel the world, fine, but oof, yeah. But again, each to their own. I'm not judging them, I just don't understand it. But basically, look, just to summarize, my whole point of this was why distances are different. They're relative to the roads you're doing. And I know in America you don't have as many old, windy, twisty roads as we do here, because when you started making them, they weren't based on the kind of classical routes that had been used by people on horses and carts and whatnot. So you didn't have to worry about just matching the tarmac to these windy, twisty roads and these really old bridges that are made of stone, because obviously no one wants to knock through this bridge. It's really pretty. But obviously that would work a lot better as a straight line. So that's something else to kind of be aware of. If you come traveling here, and this is my main point, if you are someone who's used to big wide open roads, flat wide open roads, that are less fatiguing than these type, and you come to Ireland and plan out to do 800 miles a day, I would advise against it, because I think you're going to end up very, 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 very tired, which obviously could lead to accidents or whatever else, and nobody wants that. Nobody watching this channel wants that. No one wants to see anyone hurt. Well, there's a few people I could think of, but it's fine. Basically, set out yourself to match it up for about 4 to 5 hours riding a day. I think is plenty, because you got to stop in for your food breaks and all, which means you're going to be up and on the road for 8 hours odd a day or something like that, And I do think Google Maps is a great assistant here, because if you set out a route on Google Maps, obviously it gives you its expected pace, because it knows the speed limits here and it knows the average pace people drive on roads, and it is a great tool. It's a great resource for people planning out that stuff, because you can really plan about how many hours you want to be on the bike, rather than the distance. And that's what's more important to me, is time on the bike rather than distance done. And that goes back to your average speed. It's all about average speed, and I will never ever get sick of that view. It's just stunning, beautiful. I absolutely love it. Oh yeah, standing up on the bike's also a lot more comfy now with the new front end, because you can just trust it a lot more. I'd love to bring this bike back on track now actually, and try it again with the front end like this. It's just the whole bike is less wallowy. And we're going to talk about that wallow, and how I think manufacturers could do a bit better in an upcoming video. But anyway, if you watched, thank you very much for watching. I do hope this video made sense. I hope my ramble kind of came out well. I hope you get what I mean by, your route should be based off time on the bike rather than distance due to average speed. And that's why, when people look at trips in this part of the world and windy, twisty roads, that they think, hey, they didn't even go that far, but we spent the time on the bike, and that's what matters. And anyway, as always, a very special thank you to all of my patrons. You're all legends. I really do appreciate what you do, and this video should be coming out close enough to Christmas, so in case it's the last one you watch, if you get busy around Christmas with your family, happy, what is it you say, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and all that stuff. But yeah, all those things. And for people who aren't those type of ones, the other, what, I don't know what the other one is you say, but have a good time, basically, is my thing. Don't be offended if someone wishes you Merry Christmas. They don't mean it. I don't mean it in a religious sense or anything like that. I just mean it is, hey, there's a break in the world, have a good time, enjoy yourself. That's how I mean it. And yes, until next time, thank you very much again for watching. Adios. Outro crew. Have you ever changed the suspension on your motorbike? And I know I've spoken about this before, but honestly, the more I do it, the more I become convinced it's probably going to be the first thing I do on bikes from now on. Oh my god, this road is so dirty. It's just because it transforms how the bike feels. I really wish I had done this on the front end 10,000 miles ago. And if you have a CBF, I highly advise you to get those tapered roller bearings in there. Get a good set of springs in the front and a good fork rebuild. Get it all done, because it makes a difference and it will make your life better. Anyway, bye.